Okay, so I've decided to make a video. I'm sure you're all thrilled. I wanted to make a video because I want to talk to you directly about something that I think is very important, and it's actually something that I know is probably very important to all of you. The problem, as I see it, and as something like 9 out of 10 Americans see it, is that our government is non-functional for the most part. It's broken. And the reason that it's broken is because of the influence of money on our political system. 30 to 70% of your representatives' time in their office is spent raising money so they can get reelected. 30 to 70% of their time. If you went to your job and you spent 30 to 70% of your time doing something else, you would be immediately fired. But here's the thing, it's not their fault. It's the system that we've allowed to happen around them that's the problem. In a world where politicians are forced to raise as much money as they can, or else they will probably lose that election, we've backed them into a corner. What else would they be able to do but spend their time raising money? So how do we change that system? There's any number of proposals out there. The problem is, none of them are really seriously being discussed because nobody who writes any of the checks cares. They like having that influence. But that screws you and me because we don't get to be heard. The people who are angry enough to write a check, generally speaking, are on one or the other side of the spectrum, and I don't care which side it is. The problem is that those people don't represent me, and they don't represent you. I know for a fact that every one of you out there has seen some decision or some legislation that was passed or legislation that wasn't passed that you would have liked to have seen. Every one of us has one of those things out there where we're like, well, it seems so simple. We can come to some sort of middle ground compromise on these things. And why isn't it happening? It doesn't make any sense. The reason is because the people on the far extremes of the political spectrum are the ones who our politicians are forced to listen to. They have to at least pay lip service to them because we're not writing any checks. That's a problem with the system, and we can fix that. The MayDayPAC was started with the idea of changing the way things are done. And that sounds like boilerplate politics, political speech right there. We're going to change the way things are done. But honestly, this fundamental component, how politics are paid for, that has to change before anything else is going to change. Any other issue that you think is important, you're not going to get any traction on until you can write a check that's bigger than the individuals or the corporations that have far more money than you. So it seems incredibly unlikely that that's going to happen, doesn't it? So why don't we, the middle, the citizens, why don't we pool our resources so that we can be heard? And the thing that we will say first is we need to change. I don't want you to listen to dollars anymore. I want to make it possible for you to do your job, politicians. I want it to become a marketplace of ideas. I want compromise to happen. So the MayDayPAC is an expression of the hope that citizens can come together and raise enough money to be heard on this topic, on campaign finance, the core problem, the first problem. The only problem that we have to address before we can address any of the other very legitimate, very real issues that are plaguing our country. We've already raised $2 million, locked in. From June 4th to July 4th, ending at midnight on July 4th, there's a kind of a Kickstarter campaign going on where people pledge money in hopes that we will make it to a $5 million goal. If we make it to that $5 million goal, that $5 million will be matched by wealthy donors who believe in this same cause. They want to get money out of politics, and they're willing to spend their own money to make it happen. A $12 million war chest, then, is what we'll have. And going into the 2014, this year, midterm elections, we're going to try and affect 5 congressional races. Enough so that we can make campaign finance one of those things that people are going, wait, people are voting about that? They're spending money about campaign finance reform? There's one, money to be had. So I need that. And 2, wait a minute, there's campaign finance reform is something that people are actually paying attention to. Maybe finally we can get something done on that front. If people are behind it, if the citizenry are actually behind it and putting their support behind it, maybe the political will show itself. So we'll affect 5 races, and we'll make it clear that the reason those 5 races were affected is because campaign finance reform is important to everybody. In 2016, we'll use the lessons that we learned in 2014 to bring a whole suite of new Congress people into Congress to meet with the 200 plus who already think that this is a good idea. We're not alone. We're not starting from scratch. We're not starting from zero. There's a whole host of people who think that they would rather be doing their jobs than raising money. We just need to give them the support that they need in order to make this possible. So we sweep in new legislators. And together, that Congress will pass real, substantial financial or campaign finance reform. And then hopefully in 2018, we'll be able to pass some sort of constitutional amendment that will lock these changes in, and we won't ever have to deal with it again. What I need from you, and I need it before midnight on July 4th, is 1, for you to pledge something, anything, $1, $10, $20, $100, whatever you can afford. And here's the thing, the way that Mayday works, it's a Kickstarter. You can contribute, you can pledge your dollar amount, but if we don't reach our $5 million goal, you can get your money back if you want. You can also say, I want this money to go to a Democrat or a Republican, or I don't care, I just want the problem solved. It's up to you. It's a nonpartisan thing. It's a single issue. We just want to fix campaign finance so that we can actually have a conversation without being drowned out by money. Even if you can't afford $1, I'm asking you to share this video with other people, everybody, because everybody cares about this issue. Just nobody thinks there's anything to be done with it. This is it. This is the thing that you can do to make a change. You can actually buy your government back. So make a contribution, make a pledge, make it yours, make this thing yours. It feels so good when you do it. It's astonishing. Thanks for listening.